Hello and welcome. As far as the English dramatic activity is concerned, the first half of the 19th century was completely barren. Some of the poets of the period tried drama, but without any success. That is, late 19th century or early 20th century English drama, to which James Inge belong, can be divided into 5 forms. অর্থাৎ আমি বলতে চাইছি যে 19 থেকে আর্লি 20th সেঞ্চুরি ইংলিশ ড্রামা, অর্থাৎ যে সময়টা জেমস ইন বিলং করতেন, তার নাটক লেখা শুরু করেছিলেন, সেই সময়ের নাটকটা আমরা 5টা ভাগে ভাগ করতে পারি এবং এটা আমাদের কনটেক্সচুয়ালাইজেশন অর্থাৎ আমাদের প্রসঙ্গটা বুঝতে সাহায্য করবে। নাম্বার 1 হচ্ছে রিয়ালিস্টিক ড্রামা। T.W. Robertson, a writer of comedies, tried to introduce realism in drama through characterization and situation. You can understand there is a vibe of realism in late 19th century and the early 20th century. Two true dramatists created a revolution in English drama. Number 1 is Oscar Wilde and number 2 is Bernard Shaw. Now, Oscar Wilde, he followed the pattern of the comedy of manners in the Sheridan tradition. His characters were witty. Characters are being merely caricatures and have little human warmth, though they enjoyed, especially his drama, the importance of being honest, enjoyed huge success in the both sides of the Atlantic. Oscar Wilde's comedies, though often called a comedy for the butterfly, of the butterfly, or a trivial comedy for the serious people, whatever they might be called, but after all, one cannot deny a kind of urge for social reformation. Now, another interesting thing happened, which is crucial for our understanding of the context of this drama as well as for the path of development of the English drama in the late 19th century and earlier 20th century. The influence of a Norwegian dramatist, yes, Henrik Ibsen, making itself felt throughout England. William Archer translated the plays of Ibsen, and the Ibsenian drama translated by William Archer made the so far almost static English dramaturgy into iconoclastic presentation. If William Archer propagated the plays of Ibsen, it was Shaw who imported the real Ibsenian spirit into his drama. Ibsen's contribution, as Shaw felt it, may be perceived in 2 ways. The presentation of the life as it is really lived by the people of the contemporary society. The introduction of the discussion in the drama. Because all of us know that such drama are meant for reading, not suitable for stage performance. Savian drama have no conventional heroes or villain like in its Arms and the Man, Major Barbara. Everywhere you will find. Even the real villain often is not a character but the audience who belong to a stagnant society. Realistic tradition was carried on by John Galsworthy. Again, we will read Galsworthy's Justice. Repertory movement, that is another aspect of the drama of the period. These dramas produced in this repertory movement, quite unlike the dramas of Irish Renaissance, are highly realistic and intellectual. Like Ibsenian or Savian drama. They were too serious for entertainment purpose. So that's why Shaw's plays are serious, but at the same time, they are made for our entertainment, at least when we listen to it or read it. But the drama of reportery movement that flourished in 1907 are basically a kind of serious presentation, as John Irvin, a critic, wrote. A night in the reportery theatre was almost as cheerful as a night in the morgue. Another form of drama, we are coming quite close to our destination, flourished at that time, which is called poetic drama. John Drinkwater and John Masefield, who brought about the revival of poetic drama. As T.S. Eliot has told us, that a poetic drama is not necessarily a drama written in verse. A poetic drama can be well written in prose if its appeal and universality and its symbolism raised to the status of poetry. Sometimes prose can be poems too, with proper blending of emotion and universality. Now, we concentrate again here on the Celtic Revival or Irish Renaissance. Now, see, at the time, Ireland was fighting for independence, and the reference of Irish struggle for independence from British clutch was satirized by Bernard Shaw in his John Bull's Other Island. So, like India, Ireland also was struggling for freedom. You may say that for racial discrimination, for discrimination of caste, color, cultural differences, linguistic variations, there is a rift between Indians and the British, and that's why Indians, they are fighting for independence against the British rule, because the British was there to suck the vitality of the nation. But what about England's neighbor, Ireland? Because you will say that more or less the language is same. No, my dear friend. Though England and Ireland are two neighboring countries, and England at that time was ruling Ireland, there is a huge difference between English culture and Irish culture. The Irish people are by nature, they are Catholic, where the English people are Protestant. So there is difference in religion. There is a democratic impulse in Ireland, while England always sticks to its royal honor and prestige. Even the language of Ireland is not English. It is Gaelic, a Celtic dialect. And the Irish people realized that the British government is ruling, exploiting the nation, not giving representation in the parliament, and for the sake of Irish people, the British should be ousted from Ireland. Now see, there are, like Indian freedom struggle, there are two ways of Irish freedom struggle too. As in India, you would say that there is one is a non-violent movement which believed that, though I don't know why they believed, but they believed that through non-cooperation, through non-violence, through discussions, they will achieve freedom. That's one part. And the other part is led by Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, who believed that liberty is such a thing which cannot be compromised by begging. Liberty should be snatched with blood and rebellion, with might. In Ireland too, there are two different ways of freedom struggle. On the one hand, there is IRA, Irish Revolutionary Army, and on the other hand, there is the Home Rule movement. In India, you will find the Home Rule movement, which was introduced by another Irish, Annie Besant. The IRA believed that through rebellion, through weapon during the World War, the British power should be driven out. On the other hand, there are some people like W.B. Yeats, Lady Gregory, James Singh. They believe that home rule is the better option. Home rule means a kind of limited liberty. That is, within the country, administration, economy, finance, other sectors, culture, everything will be under the Irish rule. But the Irish people will have no representation in deciding military or defense, external affairs, etc. But that's a kind of limited liberty. And W.B. Yeats believed that as the Irish people, they are too distracted, weaponless. If they rage a fight, rebellion against the British, they will be butchered, and that will be a wastage of blood. In Easter 1916, W.B. Yeats expressed some kind of paradoxical or contradictory ideas regarding this bloodshed caused by IRA. Now, this Celtic Revival was an initiative by W.B. Yeats, Lady Gregory, J.M. Singh, that the Irish people at first must be made aware of their own cultural tradition. They believe that if the Irish people are aware that they are different culturally, literally, in religion, everywhere, they themselves will put resistance and they themselves would opt for non-cooperation. And because of this huge non-cooperation, the British will leave. So in order to arouse that Irish sentiment, Miss Horniman, mind that, Miss Horniman in 1904, Miss Horniman was an English lady. He gave money for the establishment of Abbey Theatre in Dublin. The directors of the Abbey Theatre was Yeats, James Singh, and Lady Gregory. The main aim of this Abbey Theatre would be to produce Irish drama in Gaelic language on Irish situation for the Irish audience to arouse Irish national sentiment and non-cooperation of the British. So they brought into their plays the long forgotten Irish folklores, the tales of Irish farmers and fishermen, seeing in each the shadow of the glen, the tinker's wedding, the playboy of the western world. In all those comedies, Singh celebrated the Irish situation. Those are comedies. And Singh wrote a very few tragedies, one of them being the great Riders to the Sea. Now Singh or W.B. Yeats, they have keen insight in human nature, wonderful skill in delineation of Irish character. Their plays are mostly written in prose, but they have the rhythm and cadences of poetry, a poetry springing from the natural idiom of the peasants. That's why these dramas are called Celtic poetic drama. The Irish Literary Society was established by W.B. Yeats, Lady Gregory, George Moore, George Russell, whose pseudonym was A.E. pseudonym, and Edward Martin in 1892. Celtic Revival was essentially national in character, concentrates on Irish theme. A critic, Linton Hudson, remarks, it did not think of a play as either a sermon or debate, not as intellectual at all, as appealing primarily to the brain. It was not intended to make people think. The dramas of Irish Renaissance, including that Riders to the Sea, they are not intended to make people think, but to make them feel, to give them an emotional and spiritual uplifting, such as they might experience at a mass in a cathedral or at the performance of a symphony. In next session, we would go to other aspects of the play. So, stick to us.